In today's video, I'm going to show you some very simple strategies you can use right now to win more online chess games. In the game, I opened one d4. I am playing as white, and my opponent opens one knight f6, the Indian defense. I go c4, very standard stuff, and black goes e6, likely intending a Nimzo Indian or a queen's gambit declined. That is all the rage these days at the highest level. Now I go knight f3. Black goes d5, the queen's gambit declined, and here white has two main ideas. Knight c3, the three knights variation of the QGD, and g3, the Catalan, and that is what I play in this game, the Catalan. Now, this opening right here is just all the rage at the highest level these days. Tons of players play it as white. All the top Indian grandmasters play it as white. Magnus does, and so on. Now, what is white's idea? It's very simple. We're basically going to go bishop g2, and castles against almost anything black can do. And black has a ton of ideas. The main lines are d takes c4, the open Catalan, bishop e7, then castles, the classical Catalan, and bishop b4 check, followed by bishop e7, the closed Catalan. Now here in the game, black doesn't play any of those. He actually goes c5, and I believe this transposes to a Tarrasch opening. That's my understanding. Now, what is the idea behind this move? Well, black is counterattacking on the queen side immediately, and this move right here is actually very, very strong if white goes knight c3. This move c5 here may even be, maybe, black's strongest move right here. But instead, after g3, this move c5 isn't nearly as strong, and white should be getting a good version of a Tarrasch opening. So here I trade on d5. C takes d5. Now here black has the option of trading with either the pawn, the queen, or the knight. In the game, e takes d5 was chosen. If black took with the queen, I just go knight c3 and chase back the queen and get a great game. If black takes with the knight, that's also a little bit strange, and white should be getting a good game. Instead, e takes d5 chosen in the game. That is the standard move here for black. And now the big feature of this position is this tension with the pawns. If these pawns get traded off, black is going to have an isolated pawn on d5, and white's entire goal should be to blockade the pawn, potentially with knight d4 ideas, and then attack it with, say, knight c3, bishop g2, queen d2, rook a d1, and so on, pressuring d5 as fast as possible. Now, of course, black also has the option of going c4 at some point, keeping the tension. If black does that, then black is going to have a 4 versus 3 pawn majority on the queen side, and therefore his plan will involve, say, b5, a5, b4, and so on, pushing those pawns. Meanwhile, white will likely be counterattacking on the king side. Now, in the game, I go bishop g2, standard stuff. Again, my plan is simple. Bishop g2 and castles, getting my king to safety. Black goes knight c6. Here I castle. And here black goes bishop e6. Now, this move does make some sense. He's supporting the pawn on d5. That could be vulnerable later in the game. But overall, this move right here is maybe a little bit inflexible. Instead of that, black probably should play immediately bishop e7, intending castles, or perhaps c takes, knight takes, then bishop c5. That would also be playable, sort of in the spirit of the Dubov variation of the Tarrasch opening, but that is a story for another video. In the game, bishop e6 was chosen, and this move's a little bit less flexible. The bishop could be going to, say, f5 or g4 later in the game. These are all good squares. Therefore, it may not have been the best idea to commit the bishop here so fast. All right, now, we're not quite in the middle game. My rooks are not connected, but we're pretty close. So what should white be doing here? Well, again, we still have this tension with the pawns. My plan here should be pressuring this pawn on d5 and blockading if we do trade pawns. So I start bishop g5, a good move, pinning the knight on f6 to the queen on d8. Now, if this knight gets traded off, black's defense of d5 will be a little more difficult, so that is kind of my idea here. Beyond that, moves like knight c3, intending b3, and bishop b2 were also playable. But bishop g5, a fine move. Here, black goes bishop e7. And here at this point, black, what he's doing, he's trying to block the pin. He does that. However, here in this position, this is a very common idea in 1d4 openings. Black moved this bishop once, to e7, but now if I take on c5, if black recaptures on c5, that bishop will be moving twice, and therefore black will sort of be wasting a tempo with the bishop, and that is what I do. D takes, then bishop takes. So here black goes bishop e7, I take, and then it goes to c5, regaining the pawn, and I sort of gain a tempo on the bishop here. So, pretty simple idea. Now, again, my rooks are not connected. The opening is not over, so I go knight c3, developing. Black goes bishop e7. And here, this is where I really sort of have to find a plan in this position. What do I want to do? What is my plan? Well, again, blockading this pawn is key. If we get to an endgame or even a middle game with just the queens and the rooks, I should be able to win this pawn and transpose to an endgame with good winning chances. That's kind of my plan. Blockade this pawn, attack it, maybe pressure on the queen side as well. Now here, white has many good moves. Knight d4, first of all, is very, very solid. Beyond that, queen to a4 is good. Bishop e3, also good, bolstering d4. And also the move I played in the game is also good. Rook c1, lining up the rook on the c file here. Now, if you're a beginner, don't worry too much about which of these moves is better. Queen to a4, knight d4, bishop e3, or rook c1. They're all playable. They're all decent. If you're not sure which one is better and you're a beginner, just play a good move that makes sense. Don't worry about it too much. In the game, rook c1 was played, seizing control of the open c file, black castles, and now here I do find the best move, knight d4, jumping in with the knight, and also applying a little bit of pressure to this knight here, this bishop here, and also this pawn on d5. For example, here as white, I could potentially be threatening bishop takes and then say knight takes d5. Now, that won't work yet, as if black recaptures with the bishop, then black will be threatening either bishop takes or knight takes d4, but it's one future idea for me. Now here, black trades on d4. I trade back, simple chess, regaining the piece. And here, black, he's got to find a good defensive setup. I do have a lot of pressure on this pawn. My idea, obviously, is rook fd1, at which point, literally all of my pieces will be on brilliant squares. And he's got to find some way to push back on that. Now, the best plan for black is probably starting with h6. The point being, I really can't trade on f6. If I do, the bishop hits my queen, and black's got two very good bishops. Therefore, I would have to go back to, say, e3. And here, black, he's got to get his rook into the game. And the best way to do that is likely a6, intending rook a to c8. I may go rook fd1. It's a game. White's a little bit better, but black still has good chances here. Now, instead of all that, black goes for the immediate rook to c8. Now, this move here, try to figure out the problem with this move. Obviously, the idea is you drop the pawn on a7. Therefore, queen takes immediately is not only possible, it is the best move. Now, one of my weaknesses in chess, seriously, is I don't punish mistakes from my opponents. And here, I sort of played on autopilot. I do this a lot. I'm trying to solve that. I go rook fd1 here. Not a bad move at all. It's a logical square for the rook, but I missed the chance to win the pawn on a7 immediately. And here again, black could potentially go a6, covering that weakness. Now, instead, he goes h6. And here, again, I have this chance to punish black. I can trade on f6, and then take the pawn on a7. That would be the best way forward. Instead of that, I drop back to f4. Not a bad move, but again, I'm sort of playing on autopilot, missing this opportunity. So shame on me for doing that. Now here, black has a really brilliant way to really seize control of the game. It's a complicated line. If you think you can find it, try to find it. And this would have punished me for my laziness here as white, quite frankly. Here, black can go bishop c5, pressuring the queen. The queen has to move, and then knight g4, pressuring f2. This is the start of black's idea. And if I go, say, rook f1 defending, black can actually go g5, pushing back the bishop to, say, d2. If I go to e3, the knight will capture it. And then black can go knight e5, pressuring the queen. And the attack continues, and it's really, really uncomfortable for white. Now, instead of that, fortunately for me, here, I'm not facing a grandmaster. I'm facing ZWC4, the 1840 Canadian player. He goes knight h5. All right, what is black's idea? Obviously, black wants to win this bishop, but this knight is now on a very weak square. And here, I just go bishop e3, retreating. The bishop might even be better placed on e3 as opposed to f4. It's not vulnerable to, say, g5 attacks. It blocks the g file, and it also does pressure a7 and control the d4 square. So e3 might actually be a better square here. And black, what does black do? Bishop f6, attacking the queen. And finally, despite my stubbornness, finally I do capture on a7, winning this pawn. Black takes on c3. We have a bunch of trades here. Bishop takes. rook takes, b takes, queen to a8. All right, very important position here. I am up 1 pawn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns versus the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of black. Now, I can trade queens. I can also keep them on the board with, say, queen b6. What should I be doing here? Well, in this sort of position, I don't really have good attacking chances. My Catalan bishop is really more of a middle game, end game piece. It's not really used for attacking the white king. Therefore, here, also, the fact that I'm up 1 pawn here, therefore, trading queens makes a lot of sense. And there are a few ways to do it. It turns out white can trade on d5 first. That is the strongest move, intending queen takes, bishop takes. But that's a little too complicated for me. I just traded queens. Queen takes, rook takes. And now here, bishop takes d5, bishop takes, rook takes, knight f6, attacking the rook. And here, I've got to find a good placement for the rook. Now, the best move here for white is just rook d2, retreating and defending, and then I'll be up 2 pawns with the better minor piece. There are pawns on both sides of the board, therefore this bishop is much better than the knight in the endgame. So rook d2 would have kind of sealed the deal on the spot. Instead of that, I was lazy. I went rook b5 here, kind of on autopilot. I do that a lot. I go on autopilot, finding decent moves, but not the best. I have to fix that. Rook b5, attacking this pawn. Black takes. I take on b7, and of course, black takes on e2. So because of my laziness, I'm down to a 1 pawn advantage here. All right, here, I go king f1, driving back the rook. Now, very importantly, in this sort of endgame, this should be enough for a win from white. The bishop is a little better than the rook, than the knight. The rook is pretty active here on b7. This pawn is an outside pass pawn. All of this should be enough for a win, but it's not going to be easy. Black goes rook c2. I go bishop d4, defending the pawn. Black goes knight e4. What's his idea? Well, he's pressuring the pawn. I can defend it, or I can somehow try to attack. I go rook b8, forcing king h7. I go rook f7, re-attacking on f7. Of course, ideas like rook to c8 or rook to b3 defending were also possible, but in the endgame, you do want to keep your rooks as active as possible. It's a good general rule of thumb. It's what I did. And here, black makes really an unforgivable mistake. He plays the move, rook takes f2. And here, I mean, I'm a pretty lazy player sometimes. I kind of go on autopilot sometimes, but even here, I saw, wait a minute, black just loses the rook. And trust me, this sort of thing is going to happen over and over and over if you're anywhere below 2,000 ELO, even if you're above 2,000, up to, say, 2,300 ELO. White and black players are just dropping pieces left and right. If you can just find ways to punish your opponent when they drop pieces like this, you will win so many chess games. All right. Knight takes c3. At this point, I'm up the entire rook for 1 pawn. This should be a pretty easy victory here. Let's see how I finish it out. Rook takes, knight e4. The bishop goes here attacking g7. Black tries to counterattack, king g2, h5. Here I take the pawn, and from here I'm kind of just cleaning up. The rest of the game isn't that important. Hit the king, advance the pawns, and so on. Again, not that important here. And pretty soon here, black is just forced to resign. And let's see. How long does he last? Actually, do I checkmate him? I do checkmate him. I ignore the pawns and deliver the checkmate. So that is how the game ends here. So lessons learned from this game. Well, first of all, I went for a Catalan, and I got a very good game with the Catalan. I quite like this opening. I play a lot of the Catalan and a lot of knight c3 here. So g3, black goes for the Tarrasch, and I get a pretty good version of this Tarrasch right here because bishop e6 is not the best move for black. It's a little bit, inaccurate. Bishop g5 is solid. Black wastes a tempo with the bishop. And from here, rook c1, then knight d4. At this point, I've got a pretty good game. I've kind of got everything I want in the Catalan or the Tarrasch. I've got the isolated pawn on d5, pressure on the pawn, potential for queenside play with queen b3 or queen a4, and so on. White's got a good game. Now, here in this position, I started to get very, very lazy. I should capture the pawn. I don't. I should capture the pawn. I don't. I retreat, and here black had the option of punishing me with bishop c5, but fortunately he didn't, and finally I do win the pawn on a7. From there, it's mostly me cleaning up in the endgame. So this really does show how easy chess can be when you just follow basic opening ideas, develop all your pieces one time each, castle your king, put pressure on the opponent's weaknesses. Again, one piece at a time, over and over and over. Knight c3, rook c1, knight d4, pressuring all of these squares. When you just play in the center and follow these classical chess principles and maybe punish your opponent's mistakes, chess can be so easy. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. It helps me out a ton. And comment down below what you thought of this game so far. And by the way, I will be analyzing a lot more of my own games on this channel. I think the time has come. I am starting to coach people. If I'm coaching people, I need to start training myself. So the time has come for me to start showing you all of my training games, showing you my journey to 2000 Elo and beyond. I'll be there hopefully very, very soon if things go well. And, you know, beyond that, if you want to learn directly from me, I have a free chess community. The link is in the description below. Go below this video to the description. Click on that link. It is free to join. I have a growing chess course, a growing chess community, free group coaching calls, and in the very near future, I will be launching a very private, elite coaching program with one-on-one coaching and group coaching. So if that interests you at all, either the free version or the paid version of my coaching program, join my community. I'll message you there, and we can go from there. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, and I sincerely wish you the best of luck on your chess improvement journey. I hope you reach all of your chess-related goals in 2025 and beyond, and I'll see you in the next video.